Don't blink, or you might miss it. Because it looks like Steve Yzerman's plan for the Red Wings is actually starting to go down, or at least we're at the very beginning stages of what exactly that plan entailed. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, back in the offseason, we made a video talking about Steve Yzerman and his entire trading plan, where Stevie Y, the GM of the Detroit Red Wings and NHL legend and now executive of the team, pretty much admitted to the media what exactly it was he wanted to do in regards to trades. Now, the Red Wings, if you're not aware, they're a pretty bad team this year. They weren't really supposed to be all too good. They were making the playoffs year after year for like 2-something decades, so now that that timeline has concluded, it's time for the rebuild. It's time for the suffering through endless amounts of pain and losses in the NHL regular season, which is what we're seeing here. The Red Wings, though, are in a position where Steve Yzerman said, hey, we're a team that doesn't really have all too much in our cap spending right now. If there are any other teams that are going out here trying to alleviate their own cap situations, like the New York Rangers, for example, we could be the team that takes on those bad contracts and in return gets assets from that. The Red Wings were able to get an extra draft pick from that Marc Staal trade where they sent over nothing. But now it looks like part 2 of Steve Yzerman's plan is coming to play here. Because on the recent episode of TSN Insider Trading, we had ourselves what was a little bit of insight from Frank Seravalli talking about what's the next step for the Red Wings. The preview here on the Twitter post says the Red Wings are ready to sell. I will leave the link in the description if you want to go ahead and watch the segment yourself. But here's a tweet from NHL Watcher that pretty much goes over everything that's discussed on the program. Seravalli on Insider Trading reports that the Detroit Red Wings are ready to sell. Some names being discussed are Bobby Ryan, Luke Glendening, and Marc Staal. So there you go. There are 3 names at the moment that it looks like the Detroit Red Wings are going to be ready to go out there and start putting out on the market. Mostly for the purposes of alleviating roster space so they can get some younger guys in there with some experience. And secondly, which is probably the more important part, getting assets, getting draft picks, getting prospects, and whatever back, depending on what the teams they're trading these players to want to give up. So, the Red Wings, if you take a look at the NHL standings right now, as we noted, they are indeed last in the Central Division. They have 13 points in 21 games played this year, and in the entire NHL, they are tied with the Ottawa Senators, also for last with 13 points in 21 games, because they have the same record, which is very interesting how that goes down. The Red Wings, though, do indeed have Luke Glendening, Marc Staal, and Bobby Ryan as guys who are all UFAs next season. Glendening is 31 years old, Bobby Ryan is 33, and Marc Staal is 34 years old. Marc Staal, as we noted, recent New York Rangers guy that was sent over to Detroit for a draft pick, alongside of a draft pick for Stevie Y and his buds to chow down on. But now it looks like we're in the territory where some of these guys are going to be able to being sold. If you take a look at the other UFAs the Red Wings have, they do have Darren Helm as well. Filppula is over here. You have an RFA situation in Adam Ernie, so I don't really know if he would actually be considered. And Sam Gagner is also a UFA too. Not to mention Patrick Nemeth and John Merrill, who was a recent acquisition in the most recent offseason. You have Filip Hronek, who is also an RFA, but I highly doubt that any team is going to be able to get Filip Hronek from Steve Yzerman's grubby paws over here in a trade for a deadline rental. But the guys that are indeed in this conversation are indeed pretty interesting to look at. Luke Glendening has had somewhat of a slow year, 4 points in 19 games played, a goal and 3 assists. Bobby Ryan this year is just at half a point a game, 9 points in 20 games played. And then you have Marc Staal, who really doesn't do much. I mean, he's not really great. 4 points, 21 games. It's not even about the points with Marc Staal. He's always been a shutdown guy, but ask any Red Wings fan that's been watching the Red Wings this year, and they'll tell you that Marc Staal has been more or less one of the worst defensemen on the team, but hey, he came with a draft pick, so it's fine. When it comes to what the Red Wings are supposed to be and how they've been playing this year, Marc Staal, more than okay if he comes with that draft pick. So it's just really interesting to me how this is the next step in the plan, where a Marc Staal, who was used to acquire a draft pick before the season began, could be traded away again to potentially get another draft pick for the Red Wings, who in this year's 2021 NHL Entry Draft already have themselves 2, 3 extra more picks? Yeah, they have their first, they have 3 seconds, they have 2 thirds, then they have their 4th, 5th, and 6th. So there could indeed be some extra stuff added to this Red Wings squad, depending on whatever returns Glendening, Ryan, or Staal could get. I will say though, for Bobby Ryan, he's one that I've seen a few Red Wings fans actually say they would be more than okay if Bobby Ryan was not traded and he stuck around with the Red Wings, because this is a guy who just has a story you want to cheer for. We've noted this a few times talking about Bobby Ryan and his transition into the Red Wings system, but he was battling personal issues. He overcame that. He returned to the league. He had a rough childhood running away from authorities, making the NHL, being a star, and then becoming an overpaid contract with the Ottawa Senators. So seeing him bounce back in the way he has, where he was legitimately one of the better forwards on this Red Wings team, once the year began, it's really an enlightening story. And the chemistry that he had with Filip Zadina and a few of the other guys that you expect to be long-term Red Wings stars on this hockey team certainly is a nice sign. So obviously for Bobby Ryan, I wouldn't really expect a moon's pull of a haul from this kind of guy, but just anything for the future, any draft pick, any whatever, would be just the icing on the cake, because all these guys are indeed pretty old. Bobby Ryan's 33. If you really want to go out there and do the good old GM mode trick, you can trade away Bobby Ryan for a draft pick, a third or whatever. Make this guy go over to a cup contender, like Colorado, for example. Make him win the cup there as a depth forward who scores a very important goal in Game 6 in overtime to send the team to Game 7, wherein they win with a 2-0 shutout, and then you re-sign Bobby Ryan in the offseason. We've seen that kind of stuff happen before. Remember Antoine Vermette? This guy was traded from Arizona or Phoenix, I forgot if it was Phoenix or Arizona, to Chicago. He won a cup, then boom, he signs a contract, goes back over to the desert. Interesting situations could happen over there, and, you know, to be fair, the same thing could happen with Marc Staal and or Luke Glendening. It's just, I'm kind of talking about this because Bobby Ryan has that crazy emotional story that has led to him becoming a fan favorite in Detroit. But let me know in the comments what you think a return for either of these guys should be. Glendening is indeed an alternate captain on this squad as one of the more not really all too productive forwards on the team. Bobby Ryan, most productive out of all these guys, definitely has that great story along with him, and Marc Staal is Marc Staal, so do with that what you will. He was able to net the Red Wings a second-round pick the first time around, so let's see what he's going to be able to do as a veteran, experienced leader on a cup-contending team later down the line if he indeed gets traded, like this plan suggests. But it looks like, for Red Wings fans, we have ourselves a whole bunch of more primer to go over for that 2021 draft, because if Steve Yzerman does what Steve Yzerman knows he can do, which is use the situation in the league to exploit other teams into giving him assets that he wants, then I'm excited. We've been seeing this Red Wings team rebuilding and getting good prospects. We've been chronicling the stories of some of these prospects here on the YouTube channel, so if you want an extended look at some of the guys, we've made videos about Jonathan Berggren and Andy Tuomisto and Moritz Seider and a few other guys in the system as well. So definitely, if you're interested in any of that, then go ahead, check out the YouTube channel. But talk to me in the comments what you think either of Glendening, Ryan, or Marc Staal could fetch the Red Wings. Do you see these guys getting traded? And if so, hey, bonus question, where do you think these guys are going to get traded to? Talk to me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. So that's Rosen99. And bye.